What is up, guys? Tyson Dela Cruz here. Thank you so much for rocking with me. Is Obama secretly running the country and freakishly puppeteering Kamala Harris and Tim Walz and Biden? We're going to get into all of that right now, plus a lot of other news. Before we jump into that, shout out to everybody that is watching. Drop your comments. Let me know where you're watching from. Truly, truly appreciate each and every single one of you. Go ahead and smash that like button, and let's get into the Obama phone call.
Kamala.
Hello. Hi.
Congratulations.
Oh, my goodness.
Now, listen, let's be clear. You are the puppet, and I'm the puppet master. Just call me Daddy. Big Daddy Barack. From now on, you're my bitch, both literally and figuratively. Now, look, we're going to rig this thing just like we did for Joe, so you don't have to really do anything. Just don't f*** it up. But it would be nice if you could pretend to not be a total idiot. We know you can't fill a stadium like Trump. So what we're going to do instead, we're going to bring in a popular musician by the name of Megan Thee Stallion. Now, Megan Thee Stallion is going to host a free concert. This concert will be in Atlanta. And so now here's the twist. You're going to come on stage and speak for a bit. Then we pretend that it was a Kamala Harris rally. Then America will think that you can fill up a stadium just like Trump does. American voters are stupid. They'll totally fall for it. And when speaking, I want you to try to sound as black as you can.
We're going to get, before we get into is Obama running the country secretly, we're going to jump into a new ad campaign from the Trump administration, which hits on all the haters. We're going to drop into two of those, and we're going to go into the Vance-Onator today. Had an amazing showing. These guys, Trump and Vance, are doing their thing with the press. They are rocking it. How many of y'all out there seeing Vance? Watched my video earlier. Vance was absolutely crushing it. He, in my eyes, is considered the Vance-Onator. We're going to jump into this ad from Donald Trump right here. Let me know what you think about Vance showing up. If you watched my previous video, he crushed it. Annihilated CNN. Annihilated them. I'm going to place that video in the link in the description below if you haven't watched it. But don't watch it just yet. Watch it after this one.
The worst president in the history of the United States, exclamation point, at real Donald Trump. Well, at real Donald Trump, at least I will go down as a president.
I know people have talked to you about whether or not you want to run. Would you ever?
Never got so bad, I would never want to rule it out totally.
A new world order. These allegations are false. Weapons of mass destruction. The USA Patriot Act. The blueprint for large corporations.
We once were, we are no longer a Christian nation.
Donald Trump confirmed that he is considering a run in 2016.
Do it.
I am officially running for president of the United States.
He will never be president of the United States.
Donald Trump
Will never be elected president of the United States.
People are watching these results come in.
We're going to make this decision now. Donald Trump will be the 45th president of the United States.
Does it ever seem to you that President Trump has done more than any president in modern history?
And in the 10 years I've been involved in politics, I've never seen an administration hit the ground running like this.
I could spend the rest of the hour laying out the accomplishments under the Trump presidency, despite everything thrown at him.
The market just had its 12th straight record close.
Taking action to save as many kids as they can.
We were energy independent under the Trump administration.
More Americans reported being employed than ever.
Helping those who have served our country in the military to get access to mental health care.
The Great American Outdoors Act is the largest single piece of legislation to support our national parks and public land.
Created more than 7 million good-paying jobs.
Websites can be held liable in court for having sex trafficking content.
The Abraham Accords, which for any other president would have been multiple peace prizes.
America did not enter into a foreign war.
unemployment rate in the U.S. fell to 3.5%.
The First Step Act eases federal sentencing for nonviolent offenders.
Increased funding for historically black colleges and universities.
Allows terminally ill patients easier access to experimental drugs.
Kept the inflation rate low.
Honored with the Bipartisan Justice Award.
Had a massive MS-13 gang problem. 3.9% is the unemployment rate, requiring airports to provide lactation rooms for breastfeeding mothers.
Middle class family income increased nearly $6,000.
A dramatic escalation in his crackdown on illegal immigration.
An advocate for educational choice.
Tariffs on Mexico and Canada.
An act preventing animal cruelty and torture.
Taking out Baghdadi, the head of ISIS, Soleimani, the Iranian general.
Save Our Seas Act commitment to environmental issues.
We're saying Merry Christmas again.
Community development in low-income urban and rural communities.
Help us to remember the importance of fighting off tyranny.
Pulling out of UNESCO, the World Health Organization, the Paris Climate Accords, reassessing NATO and the United Nations.
Stood up for Christianity and the Constitution more than any president in American modern history.
We are stopping the attacks on Judeo-Christian values. Do you miss me yet?
Woo! That is a good one. When I'm watching that, I get the goosebumps. I get it. That ad is inspiring. How many of you guys think that ad is inspiring? Drop your comments down below. Let me know what you thought about that ad. We're going to jump into another ad that Donald Trump dropped on his Truth Social account with a Ronald Reagan voiceover. Man, that ad inspires me. I got the confirmation bumps. That is an inspiring ad. That's what I like to see. How many of you guys like to see that? Drop your comments down below. Smash that like button. Now we're going to jump into another ad from Donald Trump. Let's get into it.
Please welcome President Ronald Reagan, who has a few questions for you.
All of you will go to the polls, who stand there in the polling place and make a decision. I think when you make that decision, it might be well if you would ask yourself, are you better off than you were 4 years ago? Is it easier for you to go and buy things in the stores than it was 4 years ago? Is there more or less unemployment in the country than there was 4 years ago? Is America as respected throughout the world as it was? Do you feel that our security is as safe, that we're as strong as we were 4 years ago? If you don't think that this course that we've been on for the last 4 years is what you would like to see us follow for the next 4, then I could suggest another choice that you have.
President Trump. He'll make America great again.
Whew. Whew. That is another doozy. That one was another doozy. Out of those two, which one do you guys like the best? Let me know. I personally like the first one. The first one was good. It gave me the confirmation bumps. Shout out. What's up, everybody? Thanks for joining. Now we're going to jump into, I don't even know if I can continue right now. I have to, though. The Vance-Onator. Watch as JD Vance annihilates John Carl. His smirky remarks about a quote-unquote fact-based questioning over Minnesota law, which was predicated upon a citation of former President Donald Trump. Let's jump into this video. Share screen. Let me make sure you guys can hear it. And here we go.
And finally, before you go, we commit to this race to kind of sticking to the facts. I mean, I heard Donald Trump give this speech in Montana he just gave, and he said that Tim Walz has signed a letter.
This guy gives me the creeps too.
Letting the state kidnap children.
Not JD Vance, this guy right here.
To change their gender. That he said that Tim Walz has signed a letter letting the state kidnap children to change their gender, that allowing pedophiles to claim, I mean, to be exempt from crimes. I mean, this is not true. It's not remotely true.
Well, what President Trump said, and I haven't watched the whole rally.
What he said was not true.
What President Trump said, John, is that Tim Walz has supported taking children from their parents if the parents don't consent to gender reassignment. That is crazy. And by the way, Tim Walz gets on his high horse about mind your own damn business. One way of minding your own damn business, John, is to not try to take my children away from me if I have different moral views than you.
Ooh, JD was cooking today. You better call Guy Fieri because he was going straight Flavor Town on all the press. You will not see Kamala Harris or Tim Walz in front of these guys, and these guys pressing the way that they're pressing JD, the way that they're pressing JD Vance. It is ridiculous. Where it's been like 21 days since any press from Kamala Harris.
To kidnap children to change their
How would you
identity.
What I just explained to you I would describe as kidnapping, John. He has absolutely done this stuff. It's not crazy, John. Come on.
It's not what
you
he's
should
done.
not be able to take people's children away from them.
And that's not what he's proposed.
If you disagree with decisions about gender reassignment, yes, he has proposed that, John. He absolutely has. Now here's the more important thing, John. Why are we talking about inflation? Why are we talking about the fact that groceries are unaffordable thanks to Kamala Harris's policies, and so is housing? We've talked a little bit about the border. Why are we talking about the fact that the entire world is on fire because Kamala Harris's foreign policy, she's just asleep at the wheel? We have a set of plans.
She's been sleeping like Sleepy Joe. Kamala Harris is going on these rallies claiming that she can do all these things. No tax for tips. Biting off of Donald Trump's policy, and she could do that now. There's so many of you guys in the comments from the previous videos that said she can do it now, and exactly, she can.
You talk about sticking to the facts. Donald Trump and I have a set of plans to lower the cost of housing and food, to bring peace back to the world with American leadership. That is all that we want to do. And I think it's telling that the Harris administration is focused so much on these side issues instead of on the real substance, why Americans are unhappy with Kamala Harris's
To be
leadership.
clear, I just asked you about something that Donald Trump brought up, not something that the Harris campaign brought up. I was asking you about Donald Trump's
No, I'm
words.
saying
Thank you.
But John, the Harris campaign, what are their policy views? They don't have a policy position on their website. Should she sit down and answer tough questions with you?
Yes,
I think she should.
absolutely.
Where is she?
Well,
but we respect the American people
hope,
enough.
We hope she'll be on the show soon.
Whoa. I got to go. Well. I hope she'll be on the show soon. Freaking guy.
Answer tough questions with you.
Yes,
I think she should.
absolutely.
Where is she?
Well,
but we respect the American people
hope,
enough.
We hope she'll be on the show soon.
I hope so
Thank
too,
you.
John, because the person who wants to be our president ought to sit down for some tough interviews. I'm willing to do it, and I wish she would too.
All right, JD Vance, thank you for your time. Really
Thanks,
appreciate
John.
it.
Smoking them. Now, JD Vance mentioned wide open borders because of the border czar, Kamala Harris. And here is some more of that interview.
Well, John, we have to start with the fact that we have a wide open southern border because our border czar actually set a lot of open border policies. They suspended.
she's not actually. She wasn't the border czar.
Oh, that was what the media called her. She assumed the title. She had control over a lot of our border policy at a time when they were suspending. Let me finish, John. The time they were suspending deportations, they stopped Donald Trump's Remain in Mexico policy, and they reinstituted catch and release. They basically threw open the gates of our country, and now we have a ton of fentanyl, a ton of people suffering.
But how are you going to get 10 to 15 to 20 million people?
Well, the first thing you have to do is to stop the bleeding, stop the open border, get Kamala Harris out of there, and actually re-implement the Remain in Mexico policy, rebuild or finish Donald Trump's border wall, and you do that and you stop the bleeding. Now, you're right. Once you do that, once you stop Kamala Harris's open border policies, you've got to do something with the people who are already here. And I think that you take a sequential approach to it. You are going to have to deport some people. If you're not willing to deport a lot of people, you're not willing to have a border when there are 20 million illegal aliens in our country.
10 to 15 million people, this is like,
Well, John, I think it's the wrong attitude to take of it. Okay,
so you go knock on doors and ask people for their papers.
Again, but I think this is the wrong attitude towards it, right? There's 20 million people here illegally. You start with what's achievable. You do that, and then you go on to what's achievable from there. I think that if you deport a lot of violent criminals, and frankly, if you make it harder to hire illegal labor, which undercuts the wages of American workers, I think you go a lot of the way to solving the illegal immigration problem. But look, President Trump is absolutely right. You cannot have a border unless you're willing to deport some people. I think it's interesting that people focus on, well, how do you deport 18 million people? Let's start with 1 million. That's where Kamala Harris has failed, and then we can go from there.
Facts. What are you guys thinking about JD Vance's showings? Lately, he has been on fire. Now, the media doesn't want you to see this, but this is in that previous video, John Carl, I believe his name is, was speaking about, she wasn't the border czar. This is what they don't want you to see. This is what they don't want you to see.
Quote unquote border czar. Vice President Harris was not a border czar.
Meantime, Vice President and border czar Kamala Harris facing some backlash.
What he said about Harris and immigration was not true. She was never appointed border czar.
And this will be her first visit to the U.S.-Mexico border region since she was appointed as the border czar by President Biden.
People are going to have to counter the misinformation. You already hear folks talking about the border czar. She wasn't the border czar.
President Biden tapped Kamala Harris, Vice President Kamala Harris, to be the border czar.
Now, she wasn't the border czar. That's what Republicans labeled her.
They were very critical of Kamala Harris, especially in her role as border czar.
Now what she's up against is folks lying about her border record, calling her a border czar.
Kamala Harris, who was appointed as the border czar.
The Biden team didn't declare her the border czar. They wanted her to work on kind of the root causes of immigration.
There has been so much criticism against Kamala Harris. You know, she was the border czar.
Calling her sort of the border czar, which wasn't necessarily the case.
So the border, if they weren't planning to address it in a major way, do not make her your border czar. She met with some of the Northern Triangle countries, but nothing has effectively changed.
Gaslighting. Now we're gonna jump into some more fake news here. Here's John Carl. Literally from the interview with JD Vance. Was Kamala Harris ever the border czar, guys? Was she the border czar? And now she's not the border czar anymore? Was she not the worst vice president ever? And now all of a sudden she's the best candidate for presidential candidate since Obama? Here's John Carl. This is what they do. Backpedal, baby.
It was back in 2 years ago, more than 2 years ago, that the president put Vice President Kamala Harris in playing a critical role in terms of trying to stop the flow of migrants across the border. I mean, she was more than 2 years ago. She got this responsibility. No, she's not actually. She wasn't the border zone.
What is going on here, guys? What is going on? Oh my gosh. They're attempting to gaslight the public, and it's shameful. It is shameful as an American citizen to see this, to think that Americans are that dumb to fall for this bait and switch BS. Now, we gotta. I'm gonna move on. Drop your comments down below. Are they trying to gaslight us or what? Smash the like button as well. Thank you guys so much. Thank you. Thanks everybody for watching, by the way. Now we're gonna jump into, I think, one of my most favorite nicknames for a candidate ever.
Democratic vice presidential nominee Tim Walz is trending on social media as Tampon Tim.
And calling him, explain this one to me. Tampon Tim?
And I'm going to say this out loud. Republicans are calling him Tampon Tim.
Republicans on social media referring to him as Tampon Tim.
So Tampon Tim.
Online, the trending thing is Tampon Tim or something like that.
But here's the big one. If you haven't heard, it's called Tampon Tim. And that's kind of going very viral here.
Tampon Teasy. Tampon Teasy. Colonel John Kolb, Tim Walz's battalion commander and direct supervisor, trashes Walz for stolen valor lies. There have been a lot of reports coming out that Tim Walz might resign from his existing position. It is an unfront and non-commissioned it is an affront to an I'm sounding like Biden, guys. Oh my gosh. I got the Biden bedtime blues, baby. It is an affront to the miscommissioned officer's corpse that he continues to gloom the title that he sit in the cockpit of an airplane. It doesn't make him a pilot. Now, here is this. Let's see if we can see it. I don't know if you guys can read it, but I will read it for you guys here. Let's see if I can. Can I make it bigger? Here we go. So this is from John Kolb. I do not regret that Tim Walz retired early from the Minnesota Army National Guard, did not complete the Sergeant Major's Academy, broke his enlistment contract, or did not successfully complete any assignment as a Sergeant Major. Unwittingly, he got out of the way for better leadership. Thomas Brayred was the right leader at the right time. He sacrificed to answer the call, leaving his family, business, and farming brother to train, lead, and care for soldiers. He earned the privilege of being called Commander Sergeant Major. Like a great leader, he ran towards and not away from guns. I have no opinion of Mr. Walz's decision to leave service at the time he did. It was right to retire. It was his right to retire early. I also have no criticism of his service as an E7 and E8 in the MNARNG. By all accounts and all records, he was a competent chief of firing battery, gunnery sergeant, and first sergeant. I cannot say the same for his service sitting frocked in the CSM chair. He did not earn the rank or Commander Sergeant Master, right? That's what's, Commander Sergeant Major, excuse me, for sitting in the Commander Sergeant Major chair. He did not earn the rank or successfully complete any assignment as an E9. It is an affront to the non-commissioned officer's corpse that he continues to gloom on the title and sit in the cockpit of an airplane does not make him a pilot. Similarly, when the demands of service and leadership are at the highest level got real, he chose another path. Whoa. Tampon Teasy. Back at it.
This summer, join us for the most politically correct action movie of the year. A tale of tampons, of man-pons, of a man who dodged the war on terror but fought a war against masculinity. Timmy Walz is the full plastic applicator.
Whew. What do you guys think about Tampon Teasy? I love the name, Tampon Teasy. I think I'm going to get some shirts made, Tampon Teasy. Now we're going to jump into what I promised at the beginning of this video. Shout out to everybody watching, by the way. Drop your comments down below. Don't forget to smash that like button, hit subscribe. Who is finger puppeteering Kamala Harris? Just like those poor puppets at a Terry Fader show in Las Vegas, Obama is secretly running Harris, and he is secretly has been running Biden. In a recent article of the New York Times, all these pop-ups on the New York Times, man. Former President Barack Obama is secretly running Harris's presidential campaign using his people to direct her bid, ex-Republican House Speaker Kevin McCarthy claimed on Sunday. If you're watching the campaign now, some of Obama's key people, such as David Plouffe and others, are now working on the campaign, McCarthy said on 777 WABC, the cat's round table, quote unquote. You're getting the Obamas shifting from running the White House to now running the campaign. This is what's going on right now, guys. Obama's Attorney General Eric Holder helped handle the vetting process for Harris's selection of the running mate of Vice President Tampon Teasy. Harris also hired Plouffe, Obama's campaign manager in 2008, and later was one of his top White House advisors, the senior campaign aide. The political operative Plouffe has advised TikTok and Uber as well. In addition, Harris has tapped Stephanie Cutter, who worked as deputy campaign manager for Obama's 2012 campaign, as her campaign senior advisor for strategy and messaging. I wonder if she's also running the strategy and messaging of her pandering that she's been doing. And I wonder if that same person ran Hillary's campaign. I don't know. Let me know. Drop your comments. Let me know if you guys know. The firm of Obama ad making Jim Margolis also is supposed to join Team Harris, according to Politico. He worked on Harris's 2020 campaign, which did jack. Harris hired veteran Democratic advisor Jennifer Palmera as senior advisor to Harris's husband, Doug Emhoff, as well. Palmera served as director of communications for the White House under Obama and held the same post for former Secretary of State and ex-New York Senate Hillary Clinton. Jennifer O'Malley Dillon campaign chairwoman for the 2024 Kamala Harris presidential campaign, also worked for Obama and Joe Biden in 2020. But the former advisor of the ex-president scoffed and claimed that Obama is directing Harris's campaign. It is not unusual for veteran Democratic campaign strategists to work for successor candidates running the White House. I'm going to jump back into the call with Obama. If you guys are dropping in later, I'm going to jump into this call real quick, and then I'll finish this article.
Kamala.
Hello. Hi.
Congratulations.
Oh my goodness.
Now, listen, let's be clear. You are the puppet, and I'm the puppet master. Just call me Daddy. Big Daddy Barack. From now on, you're my bitch, both literally and figuratively. Now look, we're going to rig this thing just like we did for Joe. So you don't have to really do anything. Just don't f it up. But it would be nice if you could pretend to not be a total idiot. We know you can't fill a stadium like Trump. So what we're going to do instead, we're going to bring in a popular musician by the name of Megan Thee Stallion. Now, Megan Thee Stallion is going to host a free concert. This concert will be in Atlanta. And so now here's the twist. You're going to come on stage and speak for a bit. Then we pretend that it was a Kamala Harris rally. Then America will think that you can fill up a stadium just like Trump does. American voters are stupid. They'll totally fall for it. And when speaking, I want you to try to sound as black as you can.
And guys, that is a parody. Shout out to Mr. Reagan and then Elon for resharing that. That is a parody video, but it is so close to actually what is happening that it's if it wasn't so serious, it would be funny. But that is literally what is happening based on this New York Times article. A lot of individuals from the Obama administration, Biden administration, and Clinton administration are assisting Kamala Harris in her marketing strategy, in her speech strategy, in her entire presidential campaign strategy. What are your guys' thoughts on this? This is very interesting because I'm seeing general similarities across the board. Hillary, Biden, let me go back. Obama, Hillary, Biden, Kamala. A lot of people are saying that this is Obama's third term, if you would. And well, with Biden, you know, but very interesting. What are your guys' thoughts on this? Drop your thoughts down below. And I'm thinking Kamala has some Big Daddy Barack energy behind her. What do you guys think? Now we're gonna drop in to this final clip of Tulsi Gabbard. Tulsi Gabbard was recently placed on the terrorist watch list. She was recently placed on the terrorist watch list because of things that she had said. And this is something that kind of started back in 2008, 2010, when people would say something, then they would be placed on a watch list. It's here we go.
So what exactly did Tulsi Gabbard do to get added to the terror watch list? It came the day after she criticized the Biden administration right here on The Angle.
Our foreign policy decisions are being made by unelected people in the military-industrial complex who are profiting from us being in a constant state of war, and the national security state that has more power to undermine our freedoms and liberties when we are in a state of war. Kamala Harris does not have the strength to stand up to the military-industrial complex.
Okay, that's wild. Joining me now, Tulsi Gabbard, former U.S. Congresswoman, Fox News contributor. Tulsi, now you serve this country in uniform, even getting deployed to Iraq. Thank you for going, unlike Tim Walz. And now you're being...
That's trending on Twitter still, not like Tim Walz. Tampon Teasy.
Surveilled. I mean, it's a form of surveillance or hassling and intrusion upon your freedom to move by the government. What is this? I mean, I didn't believe it really when I first heard about it. I said, oh, that can't be. But how does this make you feel?
Laura, this is a clear act of political retaliation. There's no other way to put it. You laid out the sequence of events the very next day after my conversation with you on the air, warning the American people about how dangerous a Kamala Harris presidency would be. I was placed on this domestic terror watch list, which is called the Quiet Skies list under the Department of Homeland Security. the clear pain and real visceral hurt that comes from this is, as you mentioned, like many Americans, I enlisted because of the terrorist attacks on 9/11 to go after the Islamist terrorists who attacked us on that day, and to now have my own government now turn around and put me on a domestic terror watch list. It hits to the core and is the ultimate sense of betrayal. But we look at why they are doing this. It has a chilling effect. It sends a warning both to me and to anyone else who even thinks about daring to criticize our own government, which is a guaranteed protected right under the First Amendment. That we will be subject to a violation of our Fourth Amendment right to privacy through this kind of surveillance. And that's the biggest stress that's been caused by this entire situation, Laura, is now forever. I will always be looking over my shoulder, wondering if and how our government in any of these different agencies is surveilling me, watching me. Are they reading my text messages? Are they listening to my phone calls?
Yeah, I was going to say yes, yes, and yes. That's what I would guess, at least. Now, in a letter from whistleblower attorney Tristan Levitt, he writes that the special mission coverage in Ms. Gabbard's case reportedly involves 2 explosive detection canine teams, 1 transportation security analyst in explosives, 1 plainclothes TSA supervisor, and 3 federal air marshals on every flight Ms. Gabbard boards.
Wait, what?
He writes that the special mission coverage in Ms. Gabbard's case reportedly involves 2 explosive detection canine teams, 1 transportation security analyst in explosives, 1 plainclothes TSA supervisor, and 3 federal air marshals on every flight Ms. Gabbard boards.
Why?
I mean, I'm not laughing, Tulsi, because this is literally like the Soviet Union, China today, North Korea, any totalitarian regime. But Donald Trump's a totalitarian, right? He's the dictator in waiting. Okay.
Yeah, this is just, and this is what we know about, and we know about it because of these brave whistleblowers from the Air Marshal Service who are coming forward. What I'm questioning is, what are the things that are happening in our government that I don't know about? How long have they been surveilling me? This is just a recent occurrence. I would not be surprised to know that there are other government agencies who are also being weaponized against political opponents, those who dare to challenge this regime, the Biden-Harris administration. And that's really what it comes down to, and why they have to be stopped.
They have
we
to
are
be
guaranteed
defunded.
the right to life,
be
liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. I cannot be free. And you pointed to this. Yes, exactly. I cannot be free so long as my government is breathing down my neck and watching my every move.
Well, we got to go, but we're going to be following this closely, demanding that this be completely withdrawn, and whoever is responsible for this decision, and there's one person who made the decision, should be fired immediately. But this should never, ever happen in the United States of America.
To anyone.
Tulsi, no, to anybody.
Thank you.
I think this is the tip of the iceberg, and I know Donald Trump is not surprised by any of this. Tulsi?
What do you guys think about that? Drop your comments down below. This was an action-packed one, guys. Thanks for sticking around. Really appreciate you guys. I truly do. Thank you, guys. Drop your comments down below. Let me know what you guys think about this whole thing. This is a shenanigans going on right now. Drop your comments about it. Hit the like and subscribe button. I truly appreciate each and every single one of you. And as always, I will catch you